the MP formerly known as Labour's Chuka Umunna, who's now independent.
Who
and
happens
Conservative
to be my
MP.
local MP.
Yeah, so you no longer have a Labour MP.
No, I
How
have
do you
a
feel
Tigger.
about that?
I have a Tigger as an MP.
How do you feel about not having a Labour MP anymore?
Well, what happens at the next election? You stand as a Tigger, and then Labour puts someone up against you.
Yes.
Yeah, wherever we do. Wherever we stand, that would be the case. But we...
Are you going to stand again in Streatham?
I'm not leaving the field. I'm not going anywhere. But
What's
the
your
point...
majority at the moment?
26,000,
So
over 26,000.
That's a pretty tidy majority.
Yeah. But, I mean, look, ultimately, under our system, you elect the individual constitutionally, and I'm not saying the party label's irrelevant, but that's how it works. But, yeah, I mean, look, our intention is we would like to set up a new party. We can only stand candidates if we're registered as a new party. Personally, I think, well, in fact, personally, all of us believe that our system is utterly broken. I think Piers was making the point to some other MP colleagues yesterday. And ultimately, we believe people want an alternative.
I mean, on a personal, this is a big move that you made.
It is.
I was in America when it happened, and I was actually...
Ian Duncan Smith alongside you, by the way.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ian. Good morning. No, but it's the first time...
Non-Tigger.
It's the first time we've had Chuka on since he did it, and I just think that I'm interested in that for you personally. You know, when the leadership battle came around the first time, you nearly ran, then you didn't. Corbyn got in. You've clearly been slightly soul-searching ever since. Now you've searched your soul and you've renounced all things Corbyn. How do you feel about it personally? I mean, are you happy you've done what you've done? What do you see the future for you?
Well, I left the Labour Party having been a member for 22 years and having campaigned alongside some fantastic people in our constituency of Streatham. So it was a sad day, but having made the decision, which I did because I don't believe that Jeremy Corbyn and the team around him are fit to safeguard our national and economic security. And I had some fundamental differences on Brexit, on a number of other policies, and I extremely, had an extreme dislike of the awful culture that had developed and the anti-Semitism. That's why I left. And in the end, you've got to put your principles and your values first. Yeah. And if that means ultimately I end up not being an MP in the future, then so be it. Because if you're just doing it for the sake of being an MP, that's wrong.
What is the pathway for you to potentially become leader, given the decision you've taken?
Leader of the Labour Party? Never.
Well, but could you come back?
Completely ruled out?
Yeah, well, if Corbyn goes...
Surely you could come... If Jeremy Corbyn wasn't there, could you not come back as a more moderate leader of the Labour Party?
Reasonable party?
No, I tell you why. Because the Labour Party has been changed irrevocably. In the 1980s, when the Labour Party went through a similar situation, you never had, for example, Tony Benn becoming the leader of the Labour Party. And Jeremy, who, ran one of his campaigns back in the day, has become the leader. And it's not just that. The hard left has taken over the National Executive Committee, the machinery of the party, and over 80% or around about 80% of the membership have joined not because of the Labour Party, but because of Jeremy Corbyn. So the thing has completely changed. But I generally think it's just not sustainable to have these huge kind of big tent parties supposedly representing a huge diversity of interest, representing the public. I think ultimately, probably the Conservative Party should split in two, with Ian sitting in one place and maybe Ken Clarke in another.
You can't end up with
the Labour Party.
Well, why not?
Let's change the system.
Do we
There's a
become
fundamental...
like a European and
different
European
it's
country?
down to the electoral system at the end of the day. We form our coalitions before elections. They form their coalitions afterwards. So,
Ian, I just want to take you to a point that Chuka made, which is that under our system we elect an individual, we don't elect a party. I think a lot of voters would disagree. Whether technically that's correct, but actually we vote tribally often because of party allegiance. And of course, the Labour Party says that people like Chuka, and there's people in your party, Anna Soubry, for instance, that they should resign and, stand down as MPs and call a by-election. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a certain amount of argument for that. I think there's also a mechanism now for people to call for it through a protest, as it were, which they can do. And that's all set, and that is a feasible process. I think there's a difference, though. Look, I said when Anna and the others left that the door is open. If we can resolve the issue. And for them, I think, genuinely, the issue has been fundamentally over the Brexit Europe stuff. I think there's a difference, however, if I say with Chuka and the Labour Party. There's a much wider range of real concern. Whatever else you say about the Prime Minister, you can't say the Prime Minister of the Conservative Party is somehow lurched on some extreme, taking the party, and we don't have organisations and stuff inside it. It's a different game. I'm not saying that everything is perfect. I don't. We're going through a very difficult period. period with Brexit. That exposes all the differences.